Good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I'm assuming the weather's great. I don't have windows in here, but my cinder blocks look good. Today we're going to talk about Jamboard. So Jamboard is a Google app. It's an interactive whiteboard tool. And we are going to just run through the basics of that, talk about where to get some templates, other tips and tricks, and we'll just go start to finish like we would typically do on any webinar. If you are watching live, I want to mark you present in Frontline. So if you're a Ewing Public School staff member, please comment with your first and last name. If you don't know how to comment on YouTube, send me an email sometime before 9:30 a.m. today so I can make sure that I check you off as having participated in this webinar. So before we jump into Jamboard, I just want to reiterate that my website, tinyurl.com, Ewing Ed Tech, is up and running. It has been for months, but any PD that is past or upcoming, you'll find under professional development over here on the left. So you can see our summer listings. I did want to update you. We don't have any registrants for tomorrow's Learn to Google Drive. We have one, but they've already done the first round of it in July. It's the same session. So unless somebody registers, this won't happen. But that's okay. We'll still be together for Build Your Canvas course. If anybody wants to come on August 25th, the location's going to change because they're checking on the AC. I will update you on that, but you've got to register so I know who to update. And then finally, my last session of the summer, and these are all optional. This one is another webinar, and that's next Monday at 9 o'clock. Increase productivity and organization with digital tools. I'm going to show you some of my favorite stuff that I use to stay organized and as efficient and productive as possible. So again, all of this is located at tinyurl.com/EwingEdTech. You can also review things like all of my past EdTech Tuesdays, specific resources for tools we use, and everything in between. So let's jump into Jamboard because that's why we're here. So to get to Jamboard, if you are already working in Google, you can click on the Apps waffle in the upper right-hand corner and locate Jamboard. So here's my Jamboard right here. If you don't see that, it's not the, oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Everybody makes mistakes. So if you don't see that, you can connect an app from your Google Drive, go to New, and connect the app with Jamboard. If you don't already have it, I do have mine right here. A way that I often do it is just to type in jam.new in that Google Omni bar at the top where you type in a web address, and that automatically generates a brand new Jamboard for me. I could have also gone to jamboard.google.com. I didn't mean to actually go there. Sorry, I didn't mean to actually go there, but here, jamboard.google.com. These are all different jams I've done at Ewing. I can, of course, sort them. What's owned by me, what's not owned by me. I can search if I have a ton here. So I've got options. My quickest one is pretty much to use the jam.new. We're going to talk about templates in a little bit. So you might have these already set up and ready to go. But for me, I am constantly just like doing jam.new to quickly create something. It's the same shortcut I use for like to quickly make a Google Doc, just doc.new. I'm always pulling things up and just working on the fly. So this is what Jamboard looks like. And one of the cool things about Jamboard is there's so many uses. It's not one size fits all. So while I'm going to show you the basics and give you some examples of how you can use it or how I've used it or what I've seen people do with it, there's no rules. You can go out and find your own materials, or you can create your own, which I'm sure you are fully capable of and ready to do. So let's just talk through some things. One of the things I always mention in any workshop, I talk about naming conventions, because if you don't rename something, it's just going to be called Untitled whatever. So in this case, Untitled Jam. If you look at my Google Drive, I probably have like 100 untitled slides or untitled docs just because I randomly pull them up. So the first thing you should do is just give it a name. Names can be changed later. So this is nothing that you're married to. So I'm going to just call it practice. And then part of my like naming convention kind of practice is to always give it a date, because I might name something else the same thing later. So if I see the date, it helps me stay organized digitally. So that might be something that you want to incorporate as well. One of the newer updates in Jamboard over the last, I think it was like a year and a half ago, is that you can change the background to be a picture. So for example, if you, honestly, this could be something that's very simple. It doesn't need to be digitally created. If you, I don't know, draw a picture of, I don't know, an equation, or maybe you just do like some kind of diagram or something, you can snap a picture of it on your phone, like literally draw it on paper, snap a picture, and then upload it by clicking on image, then find your image here. So you can just upload from your computer or go to Google Photos. I actually sync my cell phone to my Google Photos, so everything's just automatically updated. So I can easily pull a photo in here of something I've taken a picture of, and then I can make that the background of my Jamboard. I've seen people do this with like old worksheets they've used or different activities. It really became big during remote learning. That's a cool feature. Other backgrounds we can utilize, we've got grid paper, lined paper. We do have options here as well. So over on the left, we have our different editing options for this frame here. That's what we call a blank Jamboard rectangle, a frame. The first option is pen. If I click on that, I can start writing, or if I click on that little tiny triangle next to it, I can change the style and the color of my pen. So I can write with yellow, I can change it to a highlighter, and I can highlight in blue. So I do have a few different options here. Here's a paintbrush. This is how I erase. I click on eraser and I can erase manually like that. Or if I want to clear the whole frame, I can just click clear frame at the top. This is how I can select things. So I've got nothing on here right now, but if I wanted to like move a picture or something, I click on that and then click it to drag it. And then this is, I think, probably the most popular thing that we're using in Jamboard is the sticky notes. If I click on sticky note, I have some color options. I can also take away all colors if I just want it to be transparent. So I can add whatever I want here. I've seen people use this for, warm-ups, exit tickets, brainstorming. Obviously, there's endless opportunities. When I add a sticky note, if I click on it, these blue circles in the corners, I can use to make them larger, smaller, rotate. If I click on these 3 stacked dots, the skinny snowman in the upper right-hand corner, I can edit that sticky note. I can also edit it just by double clicking. That opens it back up. I can also duplicate. So maybe I want to do some kind of reveal activity with the kids. I can have like 20 of the same thing. I can also delete it. This is also where I can change the order. So if I've got like 100 things on a jam frame, and I know it sounds like a lot, but truly it could happen. Like I've seen people utilize this, like what is the name of that game? Among Us. Among Us was really popular a couple years ago. And like someone created this cool Among Us game on Jamboard and they just duplicated all the little people to play with. But with order, you can change what appears in the front. So if you've got a ton of stuff on here, but this is the most important, you want to bring it to the front, you would be able to go to order to reorder that. And if it's not that important, you obviously send it to the back or delete it, whatever works for you. We can also add images. So this square here with the little mountains, I can click add image. I can upload my own image. I can use Google Photos. I saw a math teacher one time, their do now or their exit ticket, she had them take a picture of their work and upload with Google Photos. I thought that was pretty cool. You can pull things from your drive, your camera. I'm just going to go to Google image search and pull up a picture of my favorite animal. Nobody asked me to do this. I don't know. I'm just a big gorilla fan. I'm going to insert it. And now I've got my image here too. Just want to model what it looks like to change the order. So let's say like I wanted it to look like it was overlapping, but I want to bring this one to the front. Remember I told you could reorder it. Bring to front. So now I brought that one to the front. You can change them around. Nothing is permanent, just like with everything in life, right? So images, I can add shapes. I've seen a ton of like Venn diagrams and stuff, but we've got additional shapes down here. Okay, obviously my drawing is not great, but up here at the top, you see I have a paint can. I can make it transparent. I can also change the color of the lines. So it's just preference. Here is my little text box. If I want to add text here, I can do that. I don't know what gorillas and Post-its have in common, but it's got to be something, right? When I'm editing my text, I have a few different options, like for sizing. Obviously, this is very large. I can change the alignment. And of course, I can change the color too. This is my laser pointer. If I click on that and use it, let's say I'm talking through an activity, I can say, all right, first you're going to look at this. And then I want you guys to check out this cool gorilla, and then add something here, so I can speak through it. And you see the laser just appears after a couple seconds. It's not permanent. So up in the upper right-hand area, these 3 stacked dots, if I click on that, it shows me some more actions that I have. I can rename it here. You can always rename it just by clicking on here too. There's, like I said, there's nothing permanent. I can download this as a PDF. So maybe I've taken some really great notes. The kids have worked collaboratively on something, and I want to save it and share it in Canvas or something. I can download it there. You can also save it as an image. That's another option. I can remove it if I don't love it. I can make a copy. Maybe I have 4 of the same type of class in a week, and I want to use the same copy of everything. And then obviously one of my go-tos is see version history, just like we have in Google Docs, Google Slides, Sheets, everything else. We can see different versions of the same file. So I started this at 9:03 a.m. and this is what it looked like at 9:03. By 9:11, it looked like this. Anytime you see a triangle like this, you can look at the details, the detailed versions. So at 9:08 a.m., I only have this. 9:10, it looked like this. So you can go minute by minute rather. And then let's say that I want to restore a previous version, like this is my best version. I can click on the one I want, click these more options, and restore this version or make a copy of this specific version. So I told you before, like maybe you wanted to make a copy for every single class. Let's say that you forgot you wanted to make a copy. So you can actually go back and make a copy later of a previous version. So if your students already edited this and wrote all over it, that's fine. You can go back at any time. You can also name other versions. So if this is like a brainstorming space for you or something you're using for planning, you can come back and say, hey, this is where we were, 8:23 updates. And I can go back at any time. I can also sort it up here, only show me the named versions. So if I did this like every month, did some updates, I could go back and see it that way too. There's truly endless opportunities here. Those are just some quick little ways you might be able to use it. Just like everything in Google, you've got to share it to be able to collaborate. But you could also, like, the only way you wouldn't have to do that is if you had a Google folder and the Google folder itself already had people in it, like that you've shared with as editors or something. But in this case, I'm going to show you how to share directly from Google Jamboard. It's exactly like everything else. And before I show you that, let me just check if there's anybody in the chat. Nope, nobody yet. Like I said, if you are here and you're watching live, please just drop your first and last name in the chat, or you can email me before 9:30 a.m. And I will, of course, make sure that I check you off in Frontline. And I'm very grateful that you're here. But if you're watching later, that's cool too. I'm grateful you're taking the time to watch this as well. So let me go back and show you guys how to share. In the upper right-hand area, click on that share button. And now I am the owner. I see it's just me in here. Alicia, I'm the owner. I can share it with anybody that I want. Let me share it with people that I know are working right now. I can keep them as an editor or a viewer. I'm going to share this with Sarah as an editor. If I notify her, she'll get an email that says, like, hey, this Google Jamboard practice 8/23/22 was shared with you. If I don't share it with her, she's not going to see that, but she can see it in her when she goes to jamboard.google.com. Something that I do sometimes do is I'll turn this off and I'll copy the link and I'll actually email the person the link. So I'll copy this, I'll go to my Outlook, and I'll paste the link and say, hey, please add 3 sticky notes. Like I'll tell them exactly what I want if it's not super clear. And again, that's just a preference, but make sure if you're not notifying them, make sure you're at least copying the link to email them. And then I can send it. I'm not going to do it because, like I said, I don't want to confuse her, but I can send it when I'm ready for her to start editing. So in the upper right-hand area of this like sharing box, there's another gear for settings. And here I can change this. So if I'm sharing with students, maybe I don't want student editors to change any permissions. So I can take all of that away. And again, that's just preference. It's really up to you, whatever you feel is necessary. Also in the upper right-hand area, there's this little square with an arrow inside. We can obviously in Google Meet or wherever you are, Zoom, anywhere, you can share your screen. What's cool about Google Jamboard is you can actually just pop in your meeting code and it automatically links Jamboard to the Google Meet, and then people can collaborate on it during the meeting. It's a really nice way that they connect. So this is only one frame. I can add as many frames as I want. To add additional frames, up at the top, see where it says 1 of 1. If I click on that, it expands to show my different frames. I can add more by clicking the plus sign. There's frame 2, frame 3. See the numbers at the top. Also, if I click in the upper right-hand area of a frame, I can duplicate or delete it from there too. I can also drag these frames to reorder. So let's say this works better as a 3rd frame. I have that ability as well. And sometimes one of the biggest things I've noticed is like when I'm working with students, they sometimes accidentally add a ton of blank frames at the end. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't really affect anything, but you can come in and delete them later. And that's fine too. And you can always go back and forth using the arrows as well. Over on the left, upper left-hand area, we have our undo and our redo button, and also the option to zoom in and out, which you probably will keep it here because it fits the whole screen. I do want to mention one of the things of course, I love a good sticky note. I was a fan of Padlet. Just in real life, I love Post-its. My whole desk is constantly covered in them. But one of the things I really liked with this was I could join my Jamboard from my phone and use my finger to like write on it. So if I was helping a student with like maybe a math problem and I needed to talk them through it, I could log into my phone, share the screen, and show them like on the whiteboard that way. And I find it easier to write with my finger than I do with the mouse. But you could actually use this on your Promethean board, your smart board, whatever you're using. For me, that was just something that really I did find beneficial. That is Google Jamboard in a nutshell. I was researching today some different templates. I told you I used to play an Among Us one with my students. I found a few cool ones. Here's a website just all about Jamboard templates. Honestly, any subject or content area you teach, you could probably just Google it and find a bunch of great examples. But this one, see, they color coded, like here's the picture of the day. Use a green one to say what you notice, blue to say what you wonder, and pink, like what does it make you think about? And the kids obviously throw their Post-its up there as well. So there's a ton of different templates and they're cross content. So there's really no limits to what you can do. And like I said, you can always pull up your own as well because there are a ton out there, and I trust that you'll create even more. That, my friends, is Google Jamboard in 20 minutes. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, amccall@ewingboe.org. Again, you can always go to tinyurl.com/ewingedtech to review any other PD or additional resources to support your edtech integration in the classroom and beyond. Thank you so much for being here today, and enjoy the rest of your summer.